What's going on, everybody? It is the Bearded One out here at dusk. Just, you know what time it is, just doing a beer review. This will be a first for the style, definitely not a first for the brewery. I'm doing Yellowhammer Brewing. That's my hat. That's the beer. Yellowhammer. I'm not sure what the windmill is. It's not a windmill Helles, I don't think. I don't think that's the name. I think it's just Helles. That could be like a Windmill Beverages exclusive. Windmill Beverages is just a liquor store here in Alabama. I don't know how they are other areas. I just know they're big, at least in North Alabama. I don't know how they do elsewhere in other states, if they're even in other states. Tried to find something on the beer, could not find anything on the beer. This is my second Helles lager. Take that back. Third Helles lager ever. I hated the Samuel Adams Helles lager in the summer variety pack I had the first year I opened my Untapped account. That was some of the first beer I ever reviewed for Untapped, not for YouTube. And that's been 4 or 5 years ago. And then I finally had the Weihenstephaner, that's how they say it in Germany. Weihenstephaner, that's how I would say it. I finally had their original 2 months ago. It was when it was pretty hot still, and it was pretty good beer. Not sure I enjoyed the earthy bitterness in it. It was pretty, I don't want to say pungent, but it was pretty stout for the style. So we'll get into this. I do want to say, forgive me, when it comes to this style, I'm not really concerned about can date, but for the integrity of the review, if you can read that, I don't know if you can. I don't think it's legible, so I'm just going to read that it was packaged on July 9th of last year. So this thing is well over 11 months old. I don't care. I guess I'm just a masochist like that. I don't mind drinking old beer. Now, old hop forward beer, that's different. That's a different discussion for a different day. For a lager, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about age at all. So we go. Again, here's the can. Here's the back of the can. There's Yellowhammer's logo. Just swivel it around. I'm not gonna lie. My initial impulse when buying this beer was just because it wasn't a part of the can collection. I think I was probably 50-50 on reviewing this beer for the show because of its age, but I'm feeling froggy, so let's just get into it. Oh, before we do our examination, shout out to Yellowhammer for putting can by dates on. As beer enthusiasts, no, I'm not bald, it's just a cowlick or something. My hair's not receding, although it looks like it on camera. Yeah, as beer enthusiasts, we just appreciate can by dates. So if Yellowhammer, if you ever see this, thank you for putting can by dates on your cans. Where are my manners? Let's get into the... Now it's dark outside, and I have a very light, fluorescent light beaming down on me. So you just have to take the appearance for what it is. I don't have sunlight. It's a murk. It's leaning towards a haze. Again, for you people new to the channel, or you're just coming back, I've kind of invented my own clarity scale. So if there is an official clarity scale, just put that in the comments below. However, this is just my own clarity scale, ranging from clear to murky to haze, and then I'd also add on haze bomb if it's just, you know, can't see through it all. I would say this is leaning towards murky. It's just got a tinge clarity through it. I can see my fingers through the other side, but I've really got to search for it. No head on this thing, although I think that's indicative of the style. Pilsners are obviously frothy, but I had that Weihenstephaner Helles Lager, the original. I don't know if that's the original Helles Lager or not, or at least as close as we can get to the original beer as far as what's available for modern beer goes. But the head is indicative of the style, so little to no white head. I mean, it's pearly white, but it's little to no head. That's okay with me. That's just how this style goes, I guess. I am getting some legs on here, but not a lot. I'm getting pear and crackery malt. It's really what I'm getting. So that could be some acetaldehyde coming through, because, you know, it is a year-old beer, and I did get it off of a warm singles rack. However, honestly, if it's not overbearing, if it's not too powerful, I'm okay if acetaldehyde finds its way in an older lager, you know, a really light beer. It doesn't. It could be an ale too, like a really estery, fruity ale. I'm okay if acetaldehyde shows up a little bit. Because I find that apple, that pear, can be enjoyable, in my opinion. I want to say I'm getting cream corn. Which one is that? Is it DMS? Dimethyl sulfide? No, dimethyl sulfide is the vegetable one, right? So it might just be more acetaldehyde. I think acetaldehyde is kind of that cream corn as well. I don't know, it doesn't turn me off. I don't think there's any cream corn. I think I'm just kind of heading down that road of acetaldehyde, and I had cream corn on the mind, all flavors on the mind because of the age. Overall, that's really what I'm getting, just not a lot, very delicate nose, and that's okay with me. Again, I'm comparing it to that original Weihenstephaner. It just kind of, the nose is kind of similar in my opinion. A really good interpretation on Yellowhammer's part. The water comes through, and it's a very refreshing quality. Quite pleased with the water here. So there is bittering hops here. I don't feel like they add much to the flavor, but they do add some bitterness to here. And for the age, I feel like now they do drop off. They really die off quick, but at the initial sip, I get I don't want to say subtle. It's not subtle. I would say more of, it's like a mild bitterness, not a medium or strong. Just a solid, mild bitterness to balance out the beer. It's quite pleasing. And then I'm not sure if we're getting acetaldehyde. Again, with these professional breweries, all flavors aren't as common. I'm sure they're common. I'm sure they happen. But especially with a brewery like Yellowhammer, they have a world-renowned brewer. In fact, the brewer that founded Yellowhammer is one of 2 brewers to actually be an official, like, brew master. Like, he came from that German brewing school in Germany. I think, well, it could have changed since I read that article, but at the time, which could have been 4 or 5 years ago, he was one of two brewmasters to come from that German brewing school in Alabama, period. So again, times have changed. Maybe there's more. But he has some medals, some world medals. And I think I went over some of this in my other few Yellowhammer reviews, so I don't want to keep regurgitating myself. But I guess the point I'm trying to say is, if indeed I'm tasting acetaldehyde, if indeed I am tasting off flavors, I'm attributing it all to the age of this beer and not to the QA, the QC of Yellowhammer or the brewer or any of that stuff, because I feel like Yellowhammer has it locked down. No brewery's perfect, but odds are they made this very well. I didn't touch on the malt. It's just a light crackery, subtle, dainty, malty, not malty, crackery, malty. I guess we'll say malty. It is malt. That is what I'm describing here. I just feel like malty gives a different picture than crackery, because it is a subtle crackery malt flavor that I'm getting, and then just a subtle estery apple pearish thing going on. Could be an off flavor, could be intentional. I believe I got that same appley pearish thing in the Weihenstephaner that I had like a month or two ago. So who knows where that's coming from. I still find it quite enjoyable. The mouthfeel is very smooth. There's no carbonate. This thing is dead. I mean, I didn't talk about the carbonation and the appearance. I didn't need to. There's nothing going on in here. It's a flat soda, pretty much, which is okay for certain styles of beer. And I think I would prefer a little bit of carbonation here. I think a Helles Lager would be great with like a champagne, tingly, subtle carbonation here. I don't know if the carbonation died due to the age or if there was intentionally no carbon. However, in this specific can, there is no carbonation whatsoever. Very watery, a very light mouthfeel. Just an overall light beer. This would be something I would drink on a hot day, hot summer night. Not hot right now, but you get the picture. I believe these are the style is very sessionable, but this one in particular is 5.4% alcohol. So yeah, you could definitely enjoy a few of these and be feeling great on a summer day. Hopefully baseball season opens back up. It'd be nice to have one of these fresh at a baseball game. One thing I really like about the pale lagers, when they're really watery like this, is the water gives a refreshing quality. I think watery beers sometimes get too much hate, and that's because of BMC, Bud Miller Coors. It's because of them, and I get it. If that turns you off, and that's probably why you drink craft beer. That might be why you're watching my channel. I don't know. But there are people who drink those beers. There are people who prefer these kinds of craft beers, which are the alternatives to Bud Miller Coors. And there's a reason for that. And I think one reason for that, maybe not the definitive reason, but one reason for that is the refreshing quality these beers have. Beer is not actually hydrating, but it gives you the sense that you're rehydrating your body. it gives you the sense that it's a very refreshing beverage, and I like that in some of these beers. I think I could recommend the Helles Lager to anybody. I feel like there's enough bittering hops to bring in people who like stronger beer. And it's definitely light enough to bring in like people from Bud Miller Coors, people curious about craft beer, people that just want to get their feet wet and see what craft beer has to offer. A Helles Lager is a good way to start your craft beer journey, but it doesn't have to be, you know, I know I recommend some of these lighter beers as starter beers, and I wholeheartedly mean that. They can be great starter beers, but not every lighter pale lager, wit beer, Hefeweizen, none of these sweeter lighter beers have to be day one beers, and I'm sure most of you understand that when it comes to these lighter beers. So, you know, take my recommendations with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion when I give these recommendations. But yeah, I think the Helles Lager is a really good. Got bugs everywhere outside. I think Helles Lager is, you know, can bring in a diverse crowd of drinkers, diverse palates. So that's about it as far as the grade goes. I had this fresh. I'm pretty sure I'd grade it higher, but because I know the age, I'm pretty sure, I am positive age has played something in here. I think it's made well enough to give it a decent grade, a 3.25 B minus. I think it's high praise for almost a year old Helles Lager. It was made well enough, at least taken care of semi well enough for the beer to not be a drain pour, to not be a lesson in bad beer on my channel. However, I'm positive this is not the way the brewer intended this beer to taste. So we're going with a B minus, just to be fair, because I think it's good enough to get a B rating. But again, the age, not fresh enough for me to give a higher rating and feel honest about it. But that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching my reviews as always. I never say this in my videos because I don't feel like I don't want to come off as a greedy person, somebody that cares about fame and money on YouTube. However, if you like my content, thumbs it up, thumbs it down, leave a comment, subscribe, unsubscribe, leave me nasty comments, leave me great comments. I don't care. Just any interaction I get is much appreciated, and I truly mean that. Because I just do this because I enjoy it, not doing it because I want to get rich or anything like that. Yellowhammer, Helles Lager, Windmill Helles, not sure the name, 3.25 out of 5. Until next time, guys, cheers.